Blah, blah, blah. Weather report for Monday, February 7th, 2022. And we missed February, 2/2/2022. That was a big day for numerologists. We missed that totally.
Of course, it'll be an even bigger deal in 2/2/22/22.
I know, but we got to wait 200 years for that. And I don't think we're going to make it, Scott. Now,
Or we can build some sort of device that'll let us fast forward into the future.
I don't know.
But we can never come back.
I think we're going to have to start eating salads every day if we want to make 2020, 22, 22. But anyway, that would be cooler, but that ain't going to happen for a while. So let's see what is going on today. There was something. Mexican jumping beans. My son told me that. He says, "Be careful using the word Mexican," and it's like, wait a minute, it's the same as saying American, right? So I mean, there isn't a problem with calling them Mexican jumping beans because they actually grow in Mexico. Those little worms that get inside the beans or whatever.
Yeah, I've never seen them grow in America. So.
And the species name is Frijones, Frijones. That is the genus, basically, I think, of the beans that, the worms get into. So it's called Frijones. So I think it's okay to call them Mexican. But anyway, I was talking about jumping jeans. And he said, "Oh, jumping beans." It's like, yeah, jumping jeans.
Hello.
So my question is the worm that gets inside of the bean, is it somehow going to infect us and control us?
Oh yeah. And you'll start to I'm not going to say that. It's okay. Don't bait me.
Hey, Midnight, how you doing?
I'm all right, I guess.
Well, good. I'm glad you're all right.
Yeah, okay. I guess I will say it makes you crave tequila.
Interesting.
Yeah, those beans get into your brain, they make you crave tequila. Yeah, and they have now, what's at the bottom of a bottle of tequila? A worm. Okay.
There we have it.
You eat that worm and that completes the parasitic cycle. Right? And then you shit on a bean, and then it gets back into the bean, and goes on and on. So I think the science is there. I think if you look at the science, you'll see what I mean.
Everything is science.
Yeah,
prove me wrong.
That's what we're all about.
You guys have no comment about that, eh? Okay, fine. We'll move on.
So I thought we were going to talk about the brain, but apparently this is just a regular. There's a regular entity in ATSM weather report.
Yeah, I was going to do that separately with you, but then I got burned out like I told you I would. But I invited you because I still want to talk about the brain a little bit, maybe. Okay. So we do want to talk about that little problem that I see in memory and the brain. And I touched on it, I think, on the last weather report, but we'll get into it a little further. But before that, I just wanted to play a short Jordan Peterson clip that ended up on Sal Cordova's channel. Well, I just want you to watch this guy at the end, and I want you to tell me whether or not you think he maybe needs to take a break.
He already looks like he needs to take a break.
It doesn't
look at his face is all. Hold on, Scott. His face is all red. What the fuck is he wearing? Like a white jacket, but the green shirt, the green button-up shirt. What the fuck? White jacket, but the green shirt. The green. I'm hearing myself.
Oh shit! Sorry, guys.
White.
Now it's better. I was playing when I unmuted. Okay.
Like his hair. I know he's old, but goddamn.
I couldn't tell the difference between Midnight repeating himself and actually.
You're a dick, Speed.
He's just coming off he had a real bad drug addiction, right? How long ago was that? Was that not that long
year
ago?
or two? And then he went. Yeah. Okay, then he went to Russia and was put into a medication-induced coma to overcome his drug addiction. and then he didn't come out of it right. Something went wrong.
I'm addicted to love.
Then he disappeared for a while, but anyway, so for some reason, Evidence and Reasons decided, okay, he's not yet a Christian, but he's getting close. Sometimes he seems to echo Christian doctrine without realizing it. This clip is okay. So Sel thinks this is like a positive conversion story, but just give it a listen.
Okay.
Let me know if you can't hear it.
It's so important to be truthful and in some sense good, because it isn't obvious to me that you can withstand that moral load if you're compromised by too much sin. It's too much. And that's another thing that we're not very good at teaching young people about. You know, you shouldn't do that. You know, it's like there's a sanctimonious authority that goes along with that. That's the wrong tone. It's more like,
what the fuck?
You know, I don't know how you lay it out properly, but you tell people that you love how to avoid the road to hell. And you don't do that because you're shaking your finger at them or because you're
He sounds so depressed or something. I don't know. You
do it because you don't want them to burn.
He sounds like he's about to cry, honestly.
Yeah.
I think there's too much of the moral authority still in the church and not enough of the, you know, the love that helps people avoid the fire.
What the fuck is he talking about?
Okay, Dannykins, real quick. Oh, okay, that's over. Did you see that guy on the right blinking like 2 or 3 times a second?
So I didn't notice that one.
Yeah, he was trying to process what was going on, and it seemed freaky to him. I think. Yeah, and Sal apparently, I mean, when I just checked, he also has another Jordan Peterson video ready and more recent. So yeah, Jordan's you know, they're treating him like a expert and visionary or something, and I just don't think he deserves it.
So you're saying you said Sel has another Jordan Peterson?
Yeah, there's a more recent Jordan video.
Oh, the highlight reel? That one? Oh, highlight reel. Okay, yeah. Another highlight reel. So that one is, how long is that? Oh, that's a premiere. That's going to be at 1 p.m.
Oh, okay. So I didn't realize.
Drama in the Rocks, Geologic. No, this is something else. So are you sure it's Jordan Peterson? This is, okay, this is what it looks like. Highlight reel, Drama in the Rocks, geological column might not require millions of years. That stuff.
No, that's just bullshit. But
yeah.
Let me dig that out real quick and I'll get back to you.
Okay. So in the video description, I have linked Stephen Baumann, who's the geologist from Wisconsin. I've linked 2 of his videos about plate tectonics. And he goes all the way back 4.5 billion years and explains when plate tectonics started. And it's pretty technical, but it is a really good review of plate tectonics. And his stuff is really worth watching. And he occasionally fires back on these young Earth creationists. Steve Baumann is really good for geology. And he shows you these formations in the Midwest. When you look at them, when you look at rocks in the Midwest, and I'm pretty sure it's the same in every other part of the United States except the Grand Canyon, you don't see these geological columns and these layers and stuff. You see a massive upheaval that could have only happened over hundreds of millions of years.
That's a lie, Speed. Don't lie for Jesus. Wait.
I'm lying against Jesus.
Yeah, right. Don't lie against Jesus. You will suffer hell for all eternity.
Okay.
God will have it. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, where's the Matt call-out video from Chris Peacock? Why did I miss that? Okay, Screen Grumps. No, got that. Okay, Matt call-out video. Let me see. Creaky Blinder talks to Force Velkai. Is that the one? You don't know, Scott?
He did this one video where he said that wasn't the whole stream, and then there's one with just Valkai and somebody else talking.
Yeah, there's another one further up, Speed. That's the Matt one, the Matt Powell one.
Now here is strange thing. I'm looking at the. You're right. That was a highlight reel to look at on Saul's channel.
Yeah.
It's about 4 minutes long. And but here's what it says. This highlight video shows the power of how other people can mold people's beliefs and values and get people to believe falsehoods and live by them. And while he's trying to point basically towards non-Christian influences, he doesn't understand how that point can point back to, his group of people, his fellow Christians.
What your conclusion?
Oh, this one. Okay.
Yeah. It's weird. It's so ironic. He does not get how it goes both ways.
Should I play this?
He gets it, but he probably gets it, but he doesn't think his influence is bad. That's
right.
Problem,
yeah. That
right?
talking bullshit about science,
right.
Isn't influencing the people around him. Would just want a vindication that creationism really is true.
Well, when I listen to Sal Cordova, oftentimes that going both ways thing, he'll say the same things that I would have said about him and the creationist guys, right? He'll say that about evolutionists.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah. Should I play this?
I don't know. I have not listened to it. I just knew that it had popped up since I'd last looked for that Jordan Peterson thing.
Okay. Well, we'll review it and see. But we got the Matt Powell thing.
Screw Matt Powell.
We love Matt Powell. We think he's more fun than a fucking barrel of monkeys.
You're a monkey.
I think I've seen this, maybe, possibly. I'm not sure.
Oh, is that a case of the albino calling the monkey black?
Yes.
Okay.
You're a dick.
I know. Well, you were being a dick first, man. You were being a dick first. I was.
Well, hey! I'm allowed to be
second dick.
Hey, I'm allowed to be a dick. Okay. You want to know why? You want to know why?
What are you going to pull on us? The old disability card?
I'm allowed to be a dick. Wait, what'd you say?
You're going to pull a disability card on us?
No, I'm not going to pull a disability card. I'm allowed to be a dick because I'm working on my confidence. Okay, so fuck you.
Okay. Oh, you did a good job.
Hey, should we share a certain intro song with a certain person who just popped up in the side chat?
Oh my God, no! I'm God. I'm gonna ban him.
Have you
him?
No, that's not the one.
Oh,
no.
Wrong guy.
Oh my God, the other guy.
The new one we were talking about today.
Wait, what are you? I mean, are you talking about Serb? I'm so confused.
Germania.
No.
Oh, Ger.
Yeah, I think I just wish we had a video of Gurr dancing to it, but maybe someday.
Yeah, that would be excellent. Okay, what are we doing? Oh, we're going to play this. We're going to play this 2 minute and 14-second highlight video, and I got to get busy and link it in the description. So this is by who did this? Creaky Blinder. Yeah, and he's got 4,800 views, so I don't think I'm going to hurt him by playing the video, right?
Yeah, definitely not.
No.
Okay. We'll just go ahead and play this little sucker and see what happens.
But I started a second channel a little while ago called There We Are Then. PWAT. It's a conversational channel, a podcast, if you will. And last night, I had a fantastic guest, and that guest was Forrest Valkai. He's got 1.3 million followers on TikTok and almost 100,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Very, very smart guy. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation until this happened. Now, I suspect this is a spam account, but Matt Powell Official is in the side chat. I really don't think it's him.
Hell yeah.
He's never been here before, but if it is, good evening, young Matthew. I hope you're doing well. Perhaps Forrest would be up to debate. I'd be nice. He seems really nice. It would be a good conversation, I think.
You know what? If this is actually Matt Powell, I would love to. My name is spelled with 2 R's, but that's just, we can get through that later on. And I would absolutely love to talk about it because I would also be as nice as I possibly could be. But
okay, that music is actually background music for this video. Okay.
As I just said a minute ago, I can forgive honest misunderstandings, but when you use your platform to spread horrible, hateful, and venomous messages, we're going to have a problem, and we will absolutely be talking about some of yours. So if that's really a thing, you can contact me through my website. I would love to talk to that dude.
So, Matt Powell Official, I guess the time has come.
Okay, Danikins.
What that?
Yeah, what's happening here?
I just wanted to point out here that I don't know what it is about Oklahoma, but you've got Seth Andrews and then Forrest Valkai. What kind of silky voice, whatever, do they produce there in Oklahoma?
Yeah. Well, it's
especially
a whiskey
for atheists. I mean,
it's a whiskey.
Damn. So what?
It's a whiskey. It's a
whiskey.
It's the whiskey.
Apparently, they know how to drink their whiskey down there.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So what happens here? Should I play this?
That's what happens. Okay, why are we talking about Matt Powell anyway?
Because Chris Peacock pointed it out, and we thought we'd take a look at it.
Yeah.
Where is your sense of adventure midnight? My God.
I left it in my other pants. I don't know.
Okay, I guess so.
The last minute of it.
Yeah. The time has come for you to either put up or shut up. I mean, you can't possibly be afraid to debate, Forrest, because after all, you win every debate you ever participate in, right? So, Matt Powell Official, Christian hate preacher, evolution denier, young earth creationist, against Forrest Valkai, evolutionary biologist, and all-around nice guy. All his contact information is in the description of this video, Matt. Forrest is waiting for you to reach out. I'm making this video because I am Mr. Helby Helpington.
Oh, so it's just a call-out video for...
Yeah,
okay.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, I would love to see Valkai take on... Has he debated Kent Hovind?
You should all debate Kent Hovind.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if he particularly, if Forrest has debated.
I don't think so. Not that I know.
Yeah, he'd be a good person. And I guess it depends on how quick on his feet he is for some characters. But with Kent, if you could ever get a debate, you know his routine, you know his script, and a lot of it. That's pretty much the same with Matt Powell, isn't it? He's pretty much a Kent Hovind scripter.
Yeah. And except he actually manages to say things that are actually dumber than Kent Hovind.
That's true.
Rocky emails me. He's filing a DMCA. Okay, Jason.
Who's what?
Rocky. If you I guess you played some of his music.
Oh, okay.
So
he just emailed you, eh? Okay, so Lester's still on. Anyway, so a long time ago on this YouTube channel, we had a brand new YouTuber, and he came onto my channel a lot, and we featured him. But then he went off and he became famous, and his name is Atheist Junior. And I just wanted to point out that he hasn't been here for like a month, and I've invited him like 5 fucking times, and he hasn't come because he's too famous now to come to Answers in Atheism. But anyway, he had a video today that was pretty good, reviewing his debate with Kent Hovind. And I linked it in the description for that ungrateful son of a bitch.
Wow, tell us how you really feel, asshole.
I mean, he's got a good channel, and his production values are constantly increasing. Guy's doing good. He is a serious YouTuber. AJ is.
He means business.
Scott and I spent a few days with him out in Austin, Texas, and that's all he did was run around and set up camera angles. I mean, you couldn't even talk to the guy. He was just my channel. And it paid off for him. He's got about 3,000 subscribers now.
He's got intensity and focus.
He really has focus. And anyway, he does good videos, so they're worth watching.
So it looks like Jason is going to debate McQueen on SFT's channel.
Oh, fucking Jason Thorne?
Yeah, he's got to figure out some way to do something with crackers. Like if
with
he
crackers,
he has to. If he could do something with crackers, that would be great.
Yeah, so Dr. Crackers did a comeback video against Erica on geology, and his comeback, she was talking about how they use radiometric dating to find oil, how important it is in the oil industry. And I just tuned in for 30 seconds, and Dr. Crackers was saying, oh, that's not true because they would never publish those papers because it's all proprietary information. And that was his argument, that they don't use radiometric dating in oil geology. And
wouldn't that be the answer to the comeback to the point that oil companies publish papers? And then his response would be, no, they don't publish papers.
Yeah.
Nowhere does that answer the question of whether or not they use
radiometric dating, right?
Yeah, radiometric dating. I'm sorry, I just lost the word.
Yeah, but the geologists that teach at the university, that teach the geology students that work for the oil companies, they do publish papers. And they publish papers on using radiometric dating to find oil. So.
And it's no secret, among engineers and geologists what methods they use.
Right.
So you can get that information readily.
Yeah. Let's see here. Where are we going? Where are we going next? We don't know where to go next. Well, okay. So you see that right there?
Looks like a mess of
alien claymation movie, right? That sort of thing, like claymation.
It does look claymation-like.
That does look awesome. What the fuck is that?
That's actually what your brain looks like on the inside. If you were to take a little tiny cube of it out of your cortex.
Oh,
that's all. Yeah, and it
does look like Play-Doh. It does look awesome.
Yeah, I think they did a colored model of this, but they actually have 3D packing of neurons, and they're packed. It looks like head cheese. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's a really horrible thing that you should never eat. But it looks.
I'm going to eat it now just to spite you.
Does it go good with crackers?
Kind of what it really looks like. But okay, so the thing that drives me nuts when people talk about neuroscience is they're trying to find like some really complicated thing about neurons that will tell us that the brain is like this massive computing machine. And in Cell's video on ALUs, he did this for 2 hours, right? Or that's where he was heading. He did this and we are going to cover this video in detail, and I think on a separate show because I've spent a lot of time on it. But he did a back of the envelope calculation about what he thought were how ALUs actually give us computational power. Because in every neuron, he claims there's 100 million ALUs, and it didn't make any sense what he said. But anyway, you'll find researchers constantly trying to find some complex thing inside the neuron that will give you a binary code that will give you more information, like Penrose and Stuart Jackmeoff or Hameroff. Yeah, that's his name. Stuart Hameroff basically came up with this theory that microtubules and quantum complexity inside of the neuron gave you more information inside of the neuron, right?
So these guys are neuroscientists or neurologists or what have you?
Mostly neurologists. Like Hameroff is I think he's an anesthesiologist who somehow got into neuroscience, or he may be a dentist. I'm not sure what he is.
Oh,
but anyway, he hooked up with Penrose and they came up with this theory. But there are other theories. Even our friend Ben Gold, was kind of implying with his Talon code, that would give you more information inside of a neuron. Okay. Now, the thing about neurons is, let's see, I've got other pictures here. That is a picture of a network. That's actually a social network, but it gives you some idea. The thing about neurons is you have 100 million of them in your cortex, right? And they're arranged in these strange little columns. And they get arranged in columns primarily because of the way the brain develops. And so there are about 150,000 cortical columns, anywhere from 30 to 150. I've heard different estimates. And each one of them contains about 80 mini columns. And these mini columns, like are stacks of neurons. Let me take a look, see if I can find you a picture of one. So they're like stacks of neurons, kind of like that. This is another picture of the cortex to give you some idea of the complexity of the packing density. And you can see like separate columns here, and these would be cortical columns. And inside of those are mini columns. Inside of each cortical column, there's about 10,000 neurons. Now, if you took 10,000 neurons and you looked at it, and they were just an on-off switch. In other words, there was no data inside of the neuron. And I want to make this very clear, and I would like you guys to ask questions if you don't understand what I'm saying. But the neuron either fires or it doesn't. So that gives you 1 bit of information per neuron, right? Okay, what they want to do is say that there's like 10,000 bits of information inside the neuron. I'm saying that there's only 1 bit of information in the neuron. But when you look at 10,000 neurons with 1 bit of information, that is 2 to the 10,000th, or roughly 10 to the 3,000th power, different possible combinations of firing patterns. Okay. Now you take that to the entire brain, the cortex, let's say that's 30 million neurons, which is a conservative estimate of how many neurons are in your cortex. So you have 2 to the 30 millionth power. I think there are 2 to the 80th particles in the universe. Isn't that? Yeah, 2 to the 80th.
Yeah.
Particles.
Yep.
So why do you need to say that the brain has all of this power inside of a neuron when just the amount of neurons we have gives you enough complexity to represent the entire universe, 2 to the roughly 2,000th power over, right? So you don't need that. Oh, 10 to the 80. Yeah. I think that's what I said.
We
right?
have 86. We have 86 billion neurons in the entire brain.
There's 100 billion. Yeah.
No,
did I say 100
86.
million? Did I say 30 million? I meant
no. You said okay. You said 100 million in a certain area of the brain. I'm just saying
no.
it's 86 billion in the entire brain, plus or minus new neurons that pop up every day.
Yeah, so it's 30 billion in the in the cortex. So we have 2 to the 30 billionth power. I'm sorry, I misspoke. I was 3 orders of magnitude. No, that is 3 orders of magnitude more exponential. So anyway, there's absolutely no reason why we need to have all of this computational power within a neuron. And neurons do have computational power, but it's primarily you have a bunch of dendrites coming in and the signals sum up. And when they sum up above a certain threshold, the neuron will fire. And that is 1 bit of information. So what's happening in your brain right now is being controlled by what is around the brain in terms of the body and your senses, right? So you have all of this input from the world coming into your brain, and they're inspiring different configurations in your brain, something new every millisecond. And over a period of about 200 milliseconds, you form a feeling of being conscious or of thinking. Okay. But in that 200 milliseconds, with that many brain cells and that many possible states, we have more than enough computational power to represent just astronomical things, much more than is actually being represented. So I wish people would fucking stop with the bullshit.
I do find it very interesting that the brain is so complex and so complex, that they're powerful that you could literally simulate an entire universe in your head. You know what I mean? You can imagine.
If it worked like a computer, you could, but it doesn't, so you can't. So you can.
I mean, I could sit here. I could literally sit here and imagine an entire universe. Me looking down an entire universe, seeing all the galaxies and stars, and stars going around. So okay, you can't do it. Fine, that's you. I can see. I can imagine an entire universe in my head.
Okay, so can there be a supernova in your head? Can you show me that?
Yeah, literally. How can I show you? It's in my head.
Show me.
We don't have.
Well, you're saying your brain is capable of creating a universe, or are you saying you're
simulating a universe? I could sit. I could sit here and imagine it. Like, look, speed.
I can imagine unicorns.
No, hold on.
Unicorns.
You really need to look into imagine. You really need to look imagination and mental simulations. Okay, I could give you an entire handbook. I can give you an entire handbook about papers. Trying to explaining various mental simulations and and how those work. All right, so do that one of these days if you want to, because because I've gotten very interested in the power of imagination and mental simulations. But I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, so whatever.
Okay. So anyway.
Oh wow! Ignore me.
I did because that is a road that we could go down for quite a while.
In a world of pure imagination, yes, Jay. You can make fun if you want, but yes.
Yeah, you can imagine that you can imagine universes, but that's about all you can do. You can also imagine unicorns. Neither one exists.
He's just calling back to Willy Wonka and that song that he sings.
Yeah,
so it's good.
One of these days you will take me seriously.
That's not a not taking seriously. In a world of pure imagination, just kind of echoes
the fact. Speed.
Speed. Okay, all right.
Jay.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if Jay takes you seriously, but that particular quote was not.
Yeah.
Some
people, you're right, Sick. Picking mom. Some people can't actually envision stuff.
Okay.
Speed.
So the problem I have with all of this bullshit is that people vastly overestimate what human brains can do and are doing, and they do it all the time.
Hold on. Today you told me people vastly underestimate. Now you're saying the opposite. Keep in mind.
I said people vastly underestimate what the complexity of neurons can do in terms of representing worlds and things like that.
For an example, I totally underestimated that. I knew there were a lot, but those numbers are quite astounding.
Those numbers are quite astounding, just with neurons. But people at the same time overestimate the wonder of the human brain. It ain't that fucking wonderful. It's not a lot different than a raccoon brain. Trust me.
I mean,
or a cow brain.
It's really sad that you think that, but that's your opinion.
Oh, what the fuck, Scott?
Sir.
Are you watching Peacemaker?
Yes.
Have you heard about the cow?
I've heard about the cow, but I don't think they've presented it yet, right?
No, we don't know the cow yet.
Okay. Jay, I know you're probably joking, but no. Okay? I'm not becoming a solipsist.
Are you a solipist?
A solopist.
No. Okay?
Solopist.
I'm not going to ask if you're hard. I'm just going to ask if you're a solopist.
Okay. I know he's probably joking, but no, I'm not becoming a solipsist.
I'm going to throw this out there. I'm throwing that link out there just for the hell of it.
Throw it out there. Let's get some serious people in here.
Oh wow!
So, what do we got here? What do we got here? Oh, let me see. Oh my goodness! I can't believe that my window is not big enough, so I can't get out my scroll bar. Oh, we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna move that up there, and we're gonna move this down there. We're moving things around.
This is exciting.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, so this is
blow by blow science.
Neural Circuit and Cognitive Development. It's a book. So,
hey, Jay.
In a world of pure imagination, you
sing it, Mr. Wonka.
My father loves that movie.
It's a great movie. I remember the first time I ever saw it. I was scared to death in that tunnel. I saw it in the theaters.
Speed, did you upload this to a certain folder?
I haven't.
Well, you should.
Well, you know, I got to pay for that storage there, midnight.
You got to pay for the Horseman drive?
Yeah, I do. I do.
I mean, how much money? I mean, how much money do you want? $10 an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
sorry, I can't afford.
Starting now.
You know, depending on the size of the file, you can actually just attach. You can store those as emails, as attachments on emails, and just leave them in your
Yeah, I know you can do. Yeah, but you still got to have them out there on the drive. So, and
hey, Speed, you wanted the Supernova.
Well, I think you should upload it anyway.
We have the Supernova.
There's something that looks like one, right?
Because you're a good person. Everybody loves neurons.
Yeah.
I do like to see representations of them firing. It blows my mind.
Okay, so guys, did I make it clear that the one bit of information in a neuron is more than enough to represent it, you know, to do all the computing we need for the brain, and you don't have to come up with this bullshit that inside the neuron is another 100 billion bits of information? Does anybody get that?
I get that. You don't need it.
No, I don't get it.
Okay.
Explain it again, Steve.
Why would Chris? Well, fuck you, Jay.
Easy.
Why would Christians try to convince you that the natural condition of the brain, we're talking about naturalism, would be enough to represent this vast computing ability when they believe that the real origin of the brain is the soul? Why?
Right.
Why do they do that?
Because
do you know what I mean? Where did Jay go?
They still think there's a soul, but it's the body's controlled by the neurons and stuff.
But they
processes.
So why would they make a big deal out of the brain, being naturally so complex, when all they have to do is say, oh no, the brain is just like an organ for outputting the product of the soul? Because
are they trying to say that evolution could not have produced such complexity? Is that what they're doing?
I guess no. They're like Sell was trying to show that God designed the brain, the natural substance of the brain, to be so powerful, that it could do all this computing with ALUs, jumping genes. That was his point, and he was trying to say it. Okay, he was trying to put that out there, but why do they need that when they could just say that the brain is nothing more than an output organ for the content of the soul, and the soul exists outside of time and space, right?
Top dog, were those neurons?
Yeah,
I think so.
Show it again, please.
And why is Sal's God so shitty?
Yeah.
Why is Sal's God so shitty that he put all the all the evidence that the earth is really old and the universe is really old?
I can't believe that shit. I can't believe that shit's happening in our brains right now.
That looks like that actually looks like something like things are crawling around inside your brain.
Yeah.
That's sort of disturbing. So anyway.
Hey Speed.
Yeah.
Did you ever get that book that I've mentioned a couple times on your channel called Behave by Robert Sapolsky?
I do have it.
I need to get.
Oh, you do? Okay. Because he's got some on the back, on the back of his book, he's got like 3 chapters or 3 sections that are basically it's like neurology for or neurons for dummies. It's got a really good explanation for it. Just in case you want to bone up on it.
Oh, actually, I boned up on neuroscience for about 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a question.
I will look at it, Jay. And thanks for mentioning it. I think everybody should take a look at that. I mean, if he condensed it into 3 chapters, everybody should read that. So.
Well, it's not. Yeah, he. What I recommend for like that book is like if anybody's interested in that book, read those 3 sections first in the back because he references them as you go through the book.
What's the name of the book again?
Behave.
By Robert Sapolsky.
Okay, I can't remember if I bought that on Kindle or if I downloaded a copy of it. We'll see if I can find it here. But anyway, you see what I'm saying, Jay, about why these guys like Sal Cordova and a bunch of others will try, and John Maddox will talk about how complex the brain is. Here it is, Sapolsky. So I got a PDF.
Oh, can you send that to me?
God damn it, you're needy as fuck. I can't.
I mean, I know.
Okay, so
I have a question, real quick, Speed.
Yeah.
Okay, so the part where you talk about they need extra bits of information from there's the word ALU, the little term ALU, and are they doing this from you said a genetic level, like like DNA is somehow hosting information that the brain is going to access?
That's kind of where I think Sal was going. I mean, I've listened to it a couple times, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about, Sal?" He's actually got a little blog that he did on it, and when we cover this video, I will link that blog among other things. But he does a back of the envelope calculation and comes up with this astronomical computing ability of the brain based on retrotransposons, which are little invaders that took over your genes and they jump around and they're called jumping genes. So I mean it just doesn't make any sense.
So they jump around your brain, they hook into your DNA, and from your genes they get some sort of information that our brain uses.
Yeah.
Is that the point he's making? It is awfully weird.
It's appendix. It's specifically appendixes 1, 2, and 3 located in the back of that, near the end of that book. And if anybody wants that, you could actually just copy and paste those to Google Docs, and then send them for people to reference, possibly. But those 3 are really good layman explanations for people to reference if you're interested in neuroscience.
Yep.
Very cool.
A picture of the hippocampus. What is this? Neurons related function clumped together.
Hippocampus in the wild.
Let's see. Yeah. So So I'm looking at it right now. Right. This is the part that we're talking about.
I can't really make it out on my screen.
Oh.
I still want to read this book.
I'm trying to find a heading. So let's see if I can find
Just do it. That's part of it. Because you can also just Control F and then type in appendix, and it'll probably take you to the first time where appendix is mentioned. Well, the appendix will be in the contents, and then it'll go through.
Yeah. Here's a neuron hookup. So you've got a neuron basically synapsing onto basically a dendrite in the second neuron. So you've got a presynaptic neuron and you've got a postsynaptic neuron. It's from the top. Neuron B fires onto the dendrite of neuron C, is what he's showing there.
So let me get this straight, since I'm coming into this late. They think there's more complexity within those neurons than just
than just firing or not firing. So that is Roger Penrose and a whole bunch of other people. They've tried to figure out how the brain can remember so much stuff. And so they were thinking, oh, neurons couldn't do this all by themselves. We have to give them some help. So we have to imagine a greater amount of information in each neuron. The problem is when you look at how the brain operates, all you have is when this neuron fires, okay, along that line from the top of the illustration here, I'm showing my cursor right here. You've got an electrical impulse, right? And it goes out to the synapse. And what happens there is it starts to exude little bubbles of neurotransmitters. And they secrete across that little gap, which is called the synapse right here, that gap. And then they stimulate an electrical impulse on a dendrite on the next neuron. And then all of these gather together like a bunch, like one neuron could have 10,000 dendrites, and you have to fire 7,000 of them in order to get that neuron to fire one impulse. But so what you've got is 10,000 signals being reduced to one firing, right? So you've gone from 10,000 bits of information to one bit of information. So for the most part, it's reductive. But now there are some neurons that will fire onto more than one dendrite. So there's more than one output, but the amount of outputs are far smaller than the amount of inputs typically on a neuron. Here's a nice little illustration that Top Dog showing down here. And I'm on the wrong thing. We could make that large screen. Yeah, what the hell are we looking at? So we're looking at basically a colored an actual microscopy that they have colored with a computer somehow. So anyway, showing you the complexity of that.
So it's all actually real boring looking, but they each have different functions and.
Right.
Gotcha.
But anyway, the idea is that there's one bit of information that's transferred, and sometimes it takes 10,000 bits to fire that one bit of information. So it's more reductive. But then what you got to consider is that at the outside of your brain, from the world, from your body, you're getting hundreds of millions of bits of information are coming in all the time. So that's why I always tell people that your mind is more in the world around you and what's happening around you than it is inside your brain. Your brain just tries to make sense of it, you know?
Yeah. Where do they get this idea that there's more inside the neurons than just like
they'll look at they'll look at some feature of molecular biology, and they'll find something that has like a code in it, right? Like Cell is looking at the genetic code of ALUs. Or Ben Golt was talking. He kind of implied, I don't think Ben Golt did this himself, but I think people that wrote the articles that he was featured in implied that that these talons, these little molecules on the inside of those synapses right here, you know, the ones you see right there on the inside of the synapse, yep. That there was or actually, I think he was talking about on the axon, that there was actually some sort of information encoded in that synapse. Now that is not totally false, but you have to talk about a whole lot more complexity before you realize the grain of truth inside of that, right? Because whether or not that neuron fires is all we really care about, okay? But there are a number of things like these neurons will, like when you're looking at something, these neurons will fire what they call a spike train. In other words, it'll fire once, it'll fire like 100 times a second or something like that for a certain period of time. It'll be like a pulse of firing, and then it will stop for a while, and then it'll fire another pulse and another pulse. And those have an effect on whether or not that neuron is going to refire. Now, the interesting thing about neurons, and this is a little bit of an aside, is that once it fires, it is far more likely in the next few minutes to fire again. And that's exactly why when you go upstairs to get a sandwich, or you go in the other room to get a sandwich, that you remember why you came into the room, right? Mm-hmm. Because your neurons are far more, once it fires, it's more likely to fire again in the same pattern. And that's how we manage to remember things from one moment to the next.
Yeah, what's neat about that book is when he starts getting into how hormones influence that sometimes as well. It's really kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, for certain parts of the brain, like there's one part I can't quote it verbatim, but he talks about this storm that's basically occurring in the brain. He goes, and the only way you can best define this is like almost pure madness. But don't worry about it. It's just the mind of a teenager.
Yep. Anyway, that last thing I was talking about is called post-tectonic potentiation. And it's really important to how our brains operate. That's how we keep a constant, we keep this constant feeling of being in touch with the world. And we like while I'm talking, I know what I've been talking about, right? I mean, that is a miracle right there. To be able to remember,
the structure. Yeah, because you're structuring a line of reasoning, and that's where that comes into play.
Yeah. Yep. So let's see. I think this the beginning of the chapter. Okay, more than 2 neurons at a time. Yeah, this is really good. So this would be worth reading for. Oh, here you go. There's a picture of the synapse, and it shows the little bubbles of shooting out neurotransmitters. And you can imagine, when you've been snorting cocaine for 9 days, how these neurotransmitters get depleted.
Yeah, what's really cool about that is if you read those 3 appendices. Sorry. Work radio. If you read that, especially that first appendix, I'd say read all 3 of them, and then you start looking up like how serotonin uptake or reuptake inhibitors work. You'll understand exactly how those suckers work for treating depression and shit.
Yep. I just started taking a supplement called L-methylfolate because there are a bunch of papers that indicate that if you take that along with your medication for depression, even though I don't take medication for depression, I decided just to take methyl L-folate because there's a real strong indication that some people have genetics such that they don't produce enough of this in their body. And that leads to a lot of depression and depressive cycles and a whole lot of other
methyl. That's with a Y, right? Methyl what?
Folate.
Methylfolate. It's a B vitamin. So
okay.
methyl.
Yeah.
Okay. L dash and then methyl with an M, and then folate with an F. Folate.
Yep.
So like folic acid. That sort of
thing. Folic acid. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it breaks down to that.
Yeah, I started on it about 4 days ago, and I've been manic ever since. But I think I was leaving my wintertime depression anyway. So I don't know if this is really, having an effect or not. But I thought it couldn't hurt. So.
Was it sunny outside for you? Is it spring-like or more winter-like still?
It's pretty cold here, but the sun is definitely got a lighter feel to it. There's more of it, and it's
not that polarized shit that always
higher in the sky, right? 19 degrees here, going to be 47 tomorrow. So
we're dry as a popcorn fart here in California.
Oh, of course, don't say popcorn.
Fire.
Yeah,
we're not supposed to be. This has been a really dry. So we got rain up, I think, right up until around Christmas or so, and then it just stopped. Yeah. So we haven't had shit for rain in probably over a month and a half now, and it's showing already.
There it is, Appendix 1, Neuroscience 101.
101. Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah. So let's see.
I may have to steal that PDF from.
Let's go all the way to the title page so that people can go look this book up, The Biology of Humans at Our Best and Worst. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I got this on sale for like $15. It normally goes for $20. I got the actual book.
Yeah, I've got the hard copy around here somewhere. So
yeah, I think I picked it up at a bookstore. I don't think I ordered it online. Either way, it don't matter.
Yeah, this looks pretty good. And Sapolsky, for some reason, I know him from maybe papers or somewhere else. I'm not sure what
he's written a lot. He's written a lot of stuff.
Okay.
He's a good writer. He's entertaining. He's really enjoyable to read.
Is he like the was he a priest?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of a philosopher.
I don't know if he identifies as an atheist, but he does seem kind of ambivalent to religion. He's just kind of like, I think he's kind of like pragmatic when it comes to religion. It's like, yeah, it's kind of like this kind of thing comforts this part of your brain. And that's why you kind of, attach to these kind of things, because they help solve for gaps. And some people are uncomfortable with unknowing things. So they make up solutions in their brain to make them feel more certain about outcomes. And those outcomes aren't there.
Oh, he's an awesome looking dude. He's got a giant beard. Sapolsky.
So he has to be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a big beard. Yeah. Great big beard. Yeah, everybody knows that people with great big beards are cool, like those Duck Dynasty guys, right?
Yeah. So, okay, and that leads me to a totally different topic. Nicholas Whitmire and Smokey apparently, they had a falling out a while ago, but it's getting worse. And now Knock picked it up again, the Raging Atheist.
Yeah, because Nicholas did a video talking about the emails, his email correspondence between him and Smokey.
Yeah, and he showed the email. He basically made the emails public, which is a pretty crappy thing to do. I think I've done that a couple of times for things that I thought were pretty safe, but he's not talking about a safe topic, so I don't think Nicholas should have done that.
Yeah, it's
pretty slimy.
Like I said, I talked about. I get so many damn views on that sucker. It was funny because when I addressed with Smokey's response video to the rumors, it was like a 20-minute video or something like that he did. Yeah, and I did kind of a review of it, and then I just basically told people I wouldn't step too much in this shit if I were you. Just
okay. I kind of want to sum this up now. So the Raging Atheist and Will and Smokey are fighting again, and Smokey is fighting with Praise, and Praise is fighting with Standing for Truth, and Standing for Truth is fighting with Smokey, and Standing for Truth is fighting with
Smokey and Praise. When did Smokey and Praise start fighting again?
Oh, I'm not sure if they have again.
Oh, okay. No, I think they're still okay.
Okay, they're temporary friends again, or whatever. So
they're back with friends.
Yeah, so Standing for Truth and Sal Cordova have had a falling out over Kent Hovind, and Sal hates Kent Hovind, and I'm trying to draw a chart, and what I come up with is pretty much
flowchart time.
And Maddox, Praise and Ryan the Presbyterian did a video questioning John Maddox's salvation.
Oh yeah, really? That was a new one. Yeah, that's new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I got a little diagram of it right here. I basically got some colored pencils and tried to diagram who's fighting with who in the Christian community.
Apparently, yeah. I think that's what I imagined in my head.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but sitting there and talking about like going over, and I don't know if this Christian's really saved or not. To me, it would be probably more important to talk about the method in which the person actually picks their nose or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you guys are getting into some. I'm like, they're just feeding on each other in some of those channels. It's like, if you're OSAS, you're a piece of shit. Well, you're not an OSAS, you're even a bigger piece of shit. It's like, God damn, sons. And then like, what's her name? Rebecca. This is like, beat on Rebecca. Yeah.
So Robert Sapolsky is a endocrinology researcher and author.
Yeah.
And I think a neurosurgeon maybe. So he's an actual brain scientist. So anyway.
Yeah, that's why that's why when he gets into hormones and shit, especially when he starts talking about the way hormones work in hyenas, that's pretty fucking interesting.
Yeah. I was wondering about that.
That's a weird fucking animal.
Oh God, I don't like those things. I just get angry when I see them.
I think they're cute.
they make me angry.
Oh, they're Speed.
Well, I saw like 6 of them ripping the guts out of a living deer. You know, it's like they don't even kill the animal before they start eating it. It's like, oh, they're yucky.
Yeah, be more efficient. You're after the food, so start chomping.
Yeah,
why waste the energy killing it? Just
start eating it.
Yeah. Okay, I gotta find.
Actually, speaking of nature, I got a funny story. So we've been having an issue with these small little look like pavement ants in the kitchen, and my wife's sitting there going, "I can't figure out where these ants are coming from on the counter." And they look like they're, and she goes, "Look, they're climbing up the wall here by the window." And I said, "Yeah, the kitchen window, and way up top, above the kitchen cupboards." And so I was like, "Yeah, I don't know where they're coming in at." So today there was a little bit more on the countertop, so I'm like following them, and I see this trail of them, and they're basically walking a long trail where the ceiling meets the walls and going all the way around the perimeter of the rooms, all the way to the front door, because the kitchen's in the back of the house, and it's not that far to the front door. But either way, they go all the way to the front door, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, they're over here by the front door. Where are they coming in at? And then I realized my wife, about a week ago, because we were getting pretty cold temperatures at night, brought in this huge pot of succulents that she had on the front porch.
Yeah,
they're in that.
They were in that. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, now I know where those bold-faced jumping spiders came from. She goes, I told my wife, I was like, did you not pay attention to the fact that there were 3 spider webs on the top of that thing? I said, they were there for a reason. And
lesson learned, don't bring in your plants.
Yeah, no. And what it is they were, because when they were in, and they had the nest in there, and normally the ants, they collect the dew that collects on the succulents, right? Well, it's been inside, so it's been drying out. So where do they go? They head towards the kitchen sink. It's the closest body of water. Closest water source is the kitchen sink.
So what is this Stephanie Trenton? Who does Rebecca keep beating up?
No, I said they're beating up on Rebecca sometimes.
Okay, Stephanie's
saying what?
Rebecca keeps beating that professor on SFT's channel up.
I don't know which professor that is.
I don't know.
I have no idea either.
Probably Dr. Crackers. God, he's a piece of work. I can't believe that guy. And he's worked in geology, and he's got degrees in geology, but they come from like 1970, as he points out. And
they've learned a lot since 1970, that's for sure.
Well,
I mean, they were still debating plate tectonics in the 70s, weren't they?
Speed, put it on your calendar. Tomorrow, Rebecca's talking. She's invited atheists, and she's talking to the Seawolf again. So you should jump in there and talk about the devil. And stuff.
I should. I'm actually, well, I don't know if I should talk about that publicly, because I'm not sure.
It's 12 o'clock your time tomorrow.
Okay, 12 o'clock. So Seawolf again, eh? Oh, Chris Peacock linked something here. Professor Dave on the split brain. Okay.
Yeah, that's what she has on her thumbnail, so I assume he's going to show up, or I don't know if she just invited him or what. But
we'll see. I don't know anything about Seawolf. Do you have background on him? On Seawolf?
He's been around for quite a while. He's gone on Smokey's channel a bunch of times and had at,
Oh, that guy. Yeah, he had that really cool he had a really good. He wasn't he the one that was talking to Smokey about why didn't God just make people, create the people that he knew would choose to believe in him? Is that the same guy? I think that might be the same guy.
I'm not sure. Him and Smokey have gone at it a bunch of times. This is going back a ways. So, you're talking at least a year ago, maybe even further. I think he's been on Rages, but he goes out, mainly he's gone after Smokey a bunch of times, but he hasn't been around for quite a while. I haven't seen him in quite a while.
Yeah, that may not be the same person, but there was a video out there, and he was talking to this one guy, this atheist. It might have been Seawolf, it might have been someone different, but it was actually a pretty interesting conversation. It irritated Smokey. It didn't take him long before he got irritated, because he thought that the guy was basically proposing that God would make people with no free will. And he goes, no, I didn't say that God wouldn't make people with free will. I said, why didn't God create people that he knew would choose him? Only the people that he knew would choose him. So.
Yeah, I was going to do, like, when I go over to that cell video on ALUs, and I really have to do it, and somebody should make me do it if I get lazy and don't do it. But I have a way that I think I was trying to work out how with genetic entropy and with the fall and all this stuff that creationists are actually in a better position to explain things via miracles than a lot of other people, because of course they can use any kind of miraculous intervention they want, right?
Yeah.
So
you don't need for explanation. It's a miracle.
Right.
You don't need a mechanism. It's a miracle. Who needs a mechanism when you got a miracle?
Miracles don't explain anything. They don't account for data, and you can't use them to ground counterfactuals. There is nothing that a miracle can explain because they're not explicative.
Sure, you can.
To say that X explains Y is you have to be able to ground a counterfactual such that if X did not obtain or if Y did not obtain, we wouldn't see X. Because if we can still get X in the absence of Y, then in what sense does X account for Y? You can't do this with miracles. You also can't do this with God. This is why it's not explicative. These are ill-defined terms that do not account for anything in reality. There's no parsimony to them whatsoever.
Them's fighting words, Leo.
They can basically they can account for
the truth. Oftentimes are fighting words, yes, because there's stupid people out there.
I don't disagree. I thought I might just add some humor by saying, not if you special pleaded to death enough.
They can account for any metaphysical possibility at all just by saying they did it. So they account for nothing because they can account for anything.
They appeal to their imagination. Wait, who do they accuse of doing that? Atheists. That's right. That's right.
Exactly. Oh, where's this Sanford part?
Not all of them. That's a gross generalization.
Okay, Dorgoff. Rebecca doesn't see a problem. Sanford ALU. All my beliefs from the Bible. Okay. So Sal Cordova here is talking about John Sanford. Okay. And he says this.
And James Story asked, well, why
Oh, hold on. I got to slow this down a little
bit. Who's John Sanford again?
John Sanford is a genetic entropy guy. He's a guy that wrote the book. Yeah.
That's okay.
What's his educational and professional background?
John Sanford is a geneticist. He's famous for the gene gun. Basically, he invented something that allowed us to do a lot of the genetic engineering that you see in crops, and he made a ton of money. So when he was supposedly an atheist, which I really kind of doubt, because when he was 39, he was having some problems in his life, and him and his wife decided to go to church. And these are Sal's words in this video, right? So he decided to go to church, and he quickly became a Christian, but he was an old earth theist, right? So he believed in evolution. Well, then I think a few years, was it 10 years later? It took 10 years for him to convert to young earth creationism. And then he went on to hire Sal Cordova. So Sal Cordova worked for him as a contractor for years to basically go out and dig up shit against evolution, right? And that's kind of what this whole video is about. And anyway, so Sal worked for John Sanford until recently, and Sanford is still out there preaching his genetic entropy bullshit. So anyway, but here's what he says.
And James Story asked, well, why do you believe what you believe? He said, well, I decided.
James Tour is asking Sanford this.
To subject all of my beliefs to the Bible. And by that, he means a literal interpretation of like Genesis. So he felt that is his moral obligation. And so even if the data don't look promising, he said he's going to preach his viewpoint. To that end,
well, it is preaching.
To that end, Sal was charged with going out and looking in the ALUs. And Sal come up with a couple of papers, and this whole video is about how he thinks he really has, they won, basically. They completely, creationists have won now with ALUs, according to Sal. But anyway, the interesting point was where he said, I have a moral obligation to interpret the Bible literally per Genesis, even if the data doesn't match. I mean, these guys say this shit out loud. Did they ever listen to themselves? I mean, what the fuck? Did you hear that?
It's either they don't listen to themselves or they don't care. But creationists are, alongside a lot of other people, like conservatives, which is why I think a lot of creationists are conservatives, they lack serious self-awareness.
Yeah. Okay, listen to this part.
I hear that. So tonight, I wanted to share kind of, this was a big deal that we got the ALU elements solved.
Did he just say ALU?
He says ALU, yeah.
Does anybody in the field actually say ALU, or do they say ALU?
I've never heard anybody say ALU.
Okay.
I think Cell maybe doesn't want to say it because it's arithmetic logic unit too. So I don't know. I'm not sure. But listen.
Or at least got enough data, because that's one stretch of the DNA that the evolutionists have been pounding us on. So, and when I try to tell creationists, it's like, okay, you may believe the Bible and you read it literally, but then you have guys like me in the pew that are just really struggling and not knowing what to do, because it happens to be in our field of specialty that young Earth creationism touches, like physics. And certainly if you're a biology student, you're going to see stuff. And so I'm trying to give a little bit, at least give you some resources today for any of the creationists out there, and also for you, to deal with this in a way that's not dismissive, a way that's compassionate, in a way that we would deal with, say, a Dr. Sanford, who is a Cornell professor, biologist, evolutionist at some time, and then he's looking at this data and he said, I don't know what to do, but I'm trusting you, God. And that was a great example there, Emery.
So anyway, he says because of this ALU stuff that now they've won. Now they've solved that problem. Evolutionists can no longer use that as an argument. Or
who's making this argument? What's the nature of the argument?
I think it was, okay, he goes back to, what the hell's his name? Aola, I think his name, Francisco Aola. He was a man that was recently defamed because he sexually harassed some women at his college, and they threw him out and they took down all his information.
Right.
There's like a 10-year-old document that Sal talks about in this video where Aola says that ALUs are all junk DNA. That we're unlikely to ever find a function for any of them. And of course, as soon as a biologist says that, he fucks himself, because you're going to find functions for some of them, right? But there are 1.3 million ALU copies in the human genome. And out of those 1.3 million, okay, they most certainly have not found function for all of them. They found that they have some effect on DNA organization. They have some effect on epigenetic effects in the brain development. And they think, I don't know, we have to get into this whole video because there's a lot of stuff here. But there's they believe that they're responsible for the evolution of the human brain. That basically it was the viruses that caused the switch from other primate, first of all, from mammals to the intelligence of primates. And then it went further with humans and created the extra capacity that we have in our brains.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what the whole thing is about. It's a very interesting video. I think it's really worth analyzing in detail, the whole thing. But there's one part here. I think Sal admits defeat. He admits defeat on the phylogeny thing, I think.
If you're going to try to argue against similarity, I just showed this here. And they're going to keep throwing that in your face, guys. The way you fight universal common ancestry is with young Earth, young fossil record, young solar system, young cosmos arguments. If you can establish that the fossil record is young, or that human life is young, even the evolutionists, we had it right here on this channel, Dapper Dino, who is no longer a young Earth creationist, I said, okay, there wouldn't be common ancestry. Would you agree? If we could show collectively that life is young, or the fossil record is young, it's common design, not common descent, that accounts for the similarity. We don't, what is not a good argument, and I tried to illustrate this last night.
Anyway, he's saying that phylogeny is not a good argument because it looks like evolution if you look at the errors in the genome. And he's saying, forget that. We're just going to prove with radiometric dating that and soft tissue and geology that the Earth is young. And then that's the end of the discussion. So he kind of admits defeat on phylogeny.
Well, they never admit defeat. They just change the subject.
They change the subject, yeah. There's a bunch of stuff in here. It's pretty cool. I love how he's always doing this.
Complex. This is unbelievably complex. Praise the Lord.
Speed, I actually have a quick question for you. It's a bit tangential, but it popped into my head and I don't want to forget it.
Yep.
When it comes to cut and pasting, in genomes, what do you know of doing this in the no-seam or the seamless manner? Do you know anything about that?
The what?
Like genome cut and pasting.
Okay, you mean us changing genes?
Yes.
Like CRISPR?
Because I was reading an article where somebody that was trying to prop up the lab leak hypothesis with COVID-19, and they were saying that, well, the researchers are saying that there wouldn't be a way for us to modify the genome to create it in a way where we wouldn't be able to detect it. But then he said that's false because there are seamless or no-seam cut and paste methods where you can't trace that this was artificially done. And what I want to know is if that's true or not. I sent a message to Dr. Dan on Twitter, but he hasn't responded. I don't know how busy he is. I'm sure he'll get back to me when he sees it. But right. I didn't know if that's true because as I understand it, there aren't really any ways. There are ways to make it harder to discover that it was artificial, but there isn't a way to make it so there's no possible way to tell that it's artificial versus natural versus zoonotic.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you wouldn't be, like, you couldn't tell if it was done by a virus, if the virus did it itself, or if somebody manufactured it.
So there are ways to do genome cut and pasting where there's no way you're going to be able to tell whether it was natural or artificial.
I think you could, yeah, because
there are ways. So it is possible that we could have developed. I mean, there are other reasons why we know that it didn't happen, but setting those aside, it is possible to have developed a virus artificially and leave absolutely no trace that it's artificial.
I think so.
Or just likely that we won't be able, because I'm just
right.
I don't know. I really struggle with this idea that there's literally nothing that we could look at in them that would tell us that would.
At the end of the day, you've just got a sequence, of 4 nucleotides, and you could, I mean, if you made it look like, I guess you could tell if you couldn't find any homologs anywhere, and I don't know. It'd be very hard to
homolog.
That would be like another gene in another organism that was very similar.
Okay.
So that you could tell that they cut it out of something else, right?
Oh.
So I mean, if things, as things evolve, we find homologs everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like if you were to find a virus, you're likely to find other viruses that have homologs that are so similar that we know that they're related, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you found no homologs at all, but then you're trying to prove a negative, right? Because it could just be that you haven't found it yet. So, yeah, I think there's probably, you could engineer something like that. The problem with genetic engineering, well, okay, if you create a virus that were to get into every one of your cells and modify your genes, then we can modify your genome. But I think the problem with modifying genomes is that we can only do it like one cell at a time, right?
Yeah, I'm talking more like modifying viral genomes.
Modifying viral genomes. Yeah, I think they could have possibly created something, but who the fuck is saying that they did, and why would they do this?
Nicholas Wade, and he's been pushing the lab leak hypothesis since COVID-19 has been a thing.
Yeah, but I mean, COVID is not a powerful biological weapon, so why would they do this? Why would they?
I don't know.
What's their
I think honestly, most of the motivation behind the lab leak hypothesis is just disdain for China and people looking for any avenue that allows them to attack China.
Exactly. Yeah. What's a bullshit? Yep. I mean, the chances of, a virus is developing naturally that fuck us up. I mean, we've seen that over and over again in the last 40 years, right? So, I mean, why do we have to imagine an enemy, a human enemy that did it? It's almost like imagining that, that God did it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. These people, I don't know. They won't stop politicizing this virus. And the reason for it is Donald Trump, the former president. God, I hate to call him that. But anyway, he was the one that made this a political he politicized this virus, right? And they won't drop it. Normally, a virus is not a political thing. It's a fucking medical fact about the world. Why in the fuck won't they drop this shit? It's killing us, right?
Well, because the reason that largely, I would argue, near exclusively the right is politicizing it is like, so the whole I'm not going to wear my mask, I'm not going to get the vaccine, they're not saying that because they have like legitimate criticisms or questions or anything like that. They're saying it because the other side said to wear masks and get the vaccines, so I'm just going to do the opposite of what the other side said. Ha ha, all you haters, ha. Like that's the mentality.
Yeah.
They just want to be political contrarians for the sake of being political contrarians. Oh, the left and the establishment said to get the vaccine. Huh, well, I'm just not going to go get the vaccine. Huh, take that, libtard.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
that's what it is. Like,
I don't know, but I think it has to do with how the entire nation changed during the Trump administration. I mean,
became very much anti-intellectual.
Yeah, we elected a fucking reality TV show celebrity as the president of the United States, and it turns out he's a fucking crazy asshole, and he changed our political landscape significantly, and now we're fucked. It's like,
sounds not right.
I mean, just when I thought the Republican Party couldn't get any worse, 2016 happened. It's like, oh my god.
Oh shit.
So what about back in the 80s with Ronald Reagan? He was an actor.
I liked Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, and Reagan was also a terrible president.
I loved him.
Nope.
But anyway,
he's what pushed supply side economics. He's what continued. What was the other one that he continued? I think Nixon's drug war, because that started with Nixon and then it ramped up under Reagan. The welfare queens, which is a way of attacking poor black people, was started under Reagan, I believe. Or maybe that was also under, I think the welfare queens one was Reagan. And then supply side economics. He's the one that brought the top marginal tax rate from, I think it was 70% down to 28%, and then capped Social Security, capped taxable Social Security income at $118,500. So any income you earn over that doesn't get taxed for Social Security, meaning that essentially what Reagan did is lowered taxes for the wealthy and raised them for everyone else. Effectively, that's what he did.
My kids used to call him Grandpa. I had him call him Grandpa Ronnie.
Oh my god!
Yeah, they thought he was their grandpa. Anyway, yeah, but it was going to hell, I guess, ever since Nixon left out. Got bounced out of office or left office. The Republican Party used to be a better party. It really did.
Yeah.
The Republican Party wouldn't have allowed for the shit that happened in Minneapolis recently, where they did a no-knock warrant and shot an innocent person.
Sleeping on their couch, yeah.
Yeah, the old Republican Party wouldn't have done that.
The name of the person they shot wasn't even on the warrant, I don't think.
No, and the real problem with that is they find themselves between a rock and a hard place, right? Because they want everybody to be armed. Yet now, if you're armed in your own house, the police can come in, and if they see your gun, they can kill you, you know?
Oh, yeah, but only if you're black or brown. If you're white, that's definitely not going to happen. That's why when a white kid went into a church and shot 8 black people point blank, he got arrested and the cops took him to Burger King. Yeah, but when a guy pays for something with a fake $20 bill and they already have him successfully apprehended, they then go to use what I think were technically illegal holds to strangle him to death because he was black. But in the first scenario, the guy was white. Notice the differences.
There's a white guy that about 20 years ago, he's in prison right now and probably will be in prison for the rest of his life. But they busted into his house, and the house was completely dark, and he got up and started firing at them, and they didn't announce themselves, and he killed a cop, and he went to jail for the rest of his life because he was defending his home, basically. So I mean, it happens to everybody, and it's just
you got to remember the United States is an authoritative police state.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it's run by a fucking union, which is something else that Republicans hate. Right? I just don't understand. I mean, they find themselves between a rock and a hard place on a lot of these issues. So,
I would say more that our country is ran by the management wing of the capitalist class, because that's all governments across the globe are. They're the management wings of the capitalist class, utilized to protect and maintain their wealth and power.
Yeah. Well, if you own a medium-sized business or a small business, you wouldn't agree that capitalism is in charge, because they get fucked all the time.
Because of capitalism.
Because of the fact that we quit knocking down monopolies like we used to do back.
Yeah,
in the
because of capitalism.
Yeah, well,
our antitrust laws. Yeah, we don't enforce them. If we did, Facebook, Amazon, Tesla, Walmart, all these companies wouldn't be nearly as large as they are. The Dow-DuPont merger, the Bayer-Monsanto merger, none of these would have been capable of going through.
Nope. Anyway, okay, guys, I think we should shoot it ahead today. What do you think? What do you think?
It's up to you, man. If you want to.
How are we going to do a good job on this cell Cordova video? So I explained my thing about the brain, so I think that's prerequisite.
Okay.
So we're going to need that information. I am going to have to do a little more bookmarking, and we're going to have to get into, because there's a lot in there that really exposes young Earth creationism for what it is, the garbage that it is. But anyway, also I linked Rebecca's video for tomorrow in the description. I have Steve Bowman's videos linked. I have Top Dog Picks of the Day, and in that Picks of the Day, there are a couple of videos like what was it? There was one on, what was it on? Oh, I thought I put it in there.
I'm sorry, who are you talking about?
Rocks.
I'm talking about Top Dog
Space Rocks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Space Rocks. Yeah, that one. So
finding sugars in space rocks, meteorites.
The sweetest rocks in space, basically. It's right here. So this is what the video looks like. Sweetest rocks in space. I thought I linked that separately. Yeah, I did.
You did.
So I have a link in the description. So anyway, Jay, so you're back, and we're about to shoot it in the head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
wife called.
Oh, okay. Anyway, we're going to shoot her in the head for today, and we will discuss things backstage. We're free to tell people what we really think. Okay, goodbye, cruel world.
Bye.
Come on. You can do it. End the broadcast.